So, one of the reasons that people give for believing in God or other religious beliefs is mystical experiences or religious experiences. So, there's a lot of debate about the usefulness of religious experiences and mystical experiences in arguments for the existence of God or other religious beliefs. But some theist philosophers do argue that they provide good reasons for not only experiencers but also other people to have religious beliefs. And some people make a distinction between religious and mystical experiences, and they say that religious experiences are a sense of the presence of God, angels, any kind of deity or religious or supernatural figure, whereas mystical experiences are usually less defined and are more like an experience of the feeling of unity of all reality, maybe a sense of enlightenment or unity with God or the universe. So C.D. Broad says that since mystics generally agree on the spiritual nature of reality, it's reasonable to assume that their experiences provide evidence for their claims. So if a lot of people agree on the meaning of something, then that is sometimes taken as good evidence that their meaning is correct. Gutting takes this idea further, claiming that people's religious experiences give a strong justification for the belief in God, in a good and powerful being. So that means that a strong justification means that people should believe that whatever beliefs are backed up or thought to be backed up by the religious experiences. Not just that they could or would be reasonable, but they actually should. So he defines truth-revealing religious experiences as being ones that are experienced in many different cultures and environments, ones that lead people to lead morally better lives, and ones that are repeatable. Though he does recognize that many individual and specific claims that religions make, things about moral duties, dietary restrictions, and particular stories from religious texts aren't usually able to be justified that way, since most religious experiences are just more general than that. Louis Poyman argues against this claim that religious experiences provide evidence for religious beliefs on the grounds that religious experiences are not really that similar. So he argues against Broad and others who say, well, the mystics agree on the nature of reality. He says they really don't. So he cites a number of examples of claims of religious experiences and says that they really don't share a lot in common. Many people see particular things, some people see things that are more general. There's really not a lot of agreement according to him. He also argues that using religious experiences to justify our belief in God is circular, because he says, look, if you already believe in God, then your religious experience is going to be of God. Whereas if you believe in a different kind of spiritual reality, then your mystical experience is likely to go toward that. He says that basically most people, their beliefs are only confirmed by the religious experience, not changed by the religious experiences. So he says our background beliefs really affect our interpretation of our religious experiences. And if that's the case, then using those experiences to justify the beliefs that we hold is circular. John Hicks provides a counter-argument to this. He says, look, there's a diversity of religious and mystical experiences, but that doesn't really provide evidence against their reality. He claims that the differences all may not be big as Poyman says. He says that all people of all faiths have these experiences that sort of give them a knowledge of what he calls the real, which is an ultimate transcendent divine reality. So he says, so some people might have experiences with God and others might just have this experience of unity of the universe, but he says they're really experiencing the same thing. And he goes on to say you can either dismiss these religious experiences as human illusions or as awareness of this reality, what he calls the real, filtered through whatever cultural tradition the experiences experiencer identifies with. So he says, look, yeah, we all have different background beliefs, but when we talk about our religious experiences, we filter those experiences through those background beliefs. It's not as though the background beliefs are really defining the religious experience, or that they're causing the religious experience. He suggests that dismissing them as human illusions is wrong, but he doesn't provide very much of an argument for that, except that is his argument from commonality that we talked about earlier. So Hicks' argument that, okay, everybody has seemingly different but really very similar religious experiences, and that all religions are really pointing to the same thing, which he calls the real, is something that is known usually as religious pluralism. And that's the theory that all religions point to the same divine reality. It's an attractive idea because it allows tolerance for diverse spiritual beliefs, but there are a lot of difficulties with this theory, and there's a lot of debate about it. So we have to explain the differences between doctrines and practices of religion, which turns out to be more difficult than Hick wants to assume. There are, and also how you can make different religious traditions consistent when they occurred over different time periods, and again have a lot of different views about things. And then he also kind of dismisses the metaphysical worries and says, well, it really matters the most whether religion helps us improve our lives and whether it ensures our salvation. And that's more important than these metaphysical or even moral details, which is kind of just dismissing the question altogether. But again, there's a lot of debate about the religious pluralism, and we're just getting into the very, very beginning of it here.